And we can see what's happening in Japan against the spot gold market. This is spot gold to the Japanese yen. And don't we see a cup formation? And don't we see a breakout? But even this is still being controlled because a rising gold price is an indication of a failing currency. Do they want you to know that this is going away 100%? No, they do not, because then you make different choices and you cover your assets. You want to cover your assets? This is how you do it.
In the video, Lynette Zang discusses the recent inflation forecast change and the need for flexibility to maintain control. Surprisingly, they downgraded the inflation forecast due to rising interest rates impacting borrowing and spending. She warns about the danger zone and emphasizes the importance of holding physical gold and silver as a wealth shield. Lynette urges viewers to prepare for the ongoing economic challenges and advocates for self-sufficiency and independence. She stresses the need to act promptly to secure their financial well-being, especially regarding the looming retirement crisis. Do not skip the video. Keep watching.
Can anybody please tell me what a normal policy is anymore? Because all we've been living under has been extraordinary policy. But at what point does all of this extraordinary policy become normal? Well, it did. Look at QE. That's been going on. It started in Bank of Japan first, not in the crisis, but in the early 90s. So I don't know. This to me definitely looks like Bank of Japan lost control. But this is also what kind of has me troubled. Bank of Japan's real surprise was the dovish inflation forecast, because inflation is part of the fiat money system. Yen fell 1% against the dollar on Friday after the rates meeting. Well, first of all, that's one currency against another currency. All the while, whether you're talking about yen or you're talking about the dollar or you're talking about any other fiat currency for that matter, the purchasing power value continues to decline. But that's what the inflation is. So they want inflation to go up, but there's only one way. It's not like you got a whole bunch of choices. There's only one way to fight inflation, and that's with deflation. And vice versa. There's only one way to fight deflation, and that's with inflation. Do you think they might overshoot it? Do you think they already did overshoot it? The inflation forecast change was the big news. On the one hand, they introduced this tweak, obviously just a step towards some further flexibility. Yeah, they need further flexibility so that they can at least look like they're maintaining control. But on the other hand, which I think was the biggest surprise to me, they downgraded the inflation forecast. Well, because in theory, when interest rates rise, fewer people are borrowing or spending, and that's what curtails the inflation. We haven't seen the end of any of this yet, and I hope you're ready for it. That's all I can say. And if you haven't done it yet, you need to click that Calendly link and get your own strategy in place. Clearly, the programs that were in place are not being very effective. And I'm not talking about the ones they just put in place. They've been battling this since the early 90s. So you might say to me, well, Lynette, they've been battling it since the early 90s. How is it that they're still surviving even to be able to do this? Because as one of the world's largest economies, the whole world agreed to allow them to. That's what's changing, and that's what's different in the U.S., is that we have ticked off a lot of countries, a lot. We're not going to have as much leeway as the Bank of Japan has had. And I would say absolutely 100%, we are in the danger zone. And what do you want to do? Do you want to fight it with this that's losing value? And I don't care if you put it in stocks and they go to the flippin' moon. 1 trillion times zero is still zero. This isn't even a little penknife. These are bazookas. What do you want to go into this fight with? I want a bazooka. And we can see what's happening in Japan against the spot gold market. This is spot gold to the Japanese yen. And don't we see a cup formation? And don't we see a breakout? But even this is still being controlled because a rising gold price is an indication of a failing currency. Do they want you to know that this is going away 100%? No, they do not, because then you make different choices and you cover your assets. You want to cover your assets? This is how you do it. Plus, food, water, energy, security, barterability, wealth preservation, community, and shelter. Get it done. I cannot urge you enough. I am seeing so many things. It is so easy for me to pick a topic because there are so many things that are going on. When do you want to be ready? Because if you don't do it before the big surprise and the big shocker occurs, you will not have the time to do it later. I hear too many people say, well, I want to move, or I want to do this, or I want to do... I 100% knew that the system died in 2008. 100%. I was getting ready to retire. I had a little 2-bedroom condo. I could lock the door and off I could go and have a great time and not have to worry about anything. Instead, I turned around and bought this property in Central Phoenix because I knew my daughters wouldn't leave, and so this is where I was going to make my last stand. And I became an urban farmer. Why? Because I believe my research. Because I know what happens 100% of the time as we transition from one currency system to another currency system. And for the most part, for most people, it's ugly, it's nasty. What? 90% of, you're talking about the middle class. Have you not watched the erosion in the middle class that really started back it really actually started when we went off the gold standard completely. But it really started with the fiat money system. And then it sped up in 2000. I mean, that's it. And we are slowing. What are you going to do about it? That's what I want to know. What are you doing to make sure that you are as self-sufficient and independent as possible going when it becomes apparent to everybody? Because we're already going through it. So again, if you have not done so, click that Calendly link below, set up a time with one of our specialists to put your own strategy together and get it executed. Because you've got to make sure that you are as independent and self-sufficient as possible. And physical gold, physical silver in your possession, that is your wealth shield. And that will be the best foundation that you can give yourself. But you also want to give yourself food, water, energy, security, barterability, wealth preservation, community, and shelter. And also make sure you watch Taylor Kenny's piece on the Fed Now and can change everything. Yes, it can and will change everything. And until next we meet, please be safe out there. Bye-bye.
According to Lynette Zang, maintaining control is dependent on flexibility and understanding the significance of the recent inflation forecast change. In her speech, she stresses the importance of being prepared for the upcoming economic challenges. With physical gold and silver as a wealth shield, Lynette urges viewers to take action, seek self-sufficiency, and protect their financial well-being. It is important for them to cover their assets and be prepared for the uncertainties that lie ahead. To ensure independence and self-sufficiency, she advises setting up a strategy promptly and addressing the looming retirement crisis. Don't wait, take action now. If you liked this video, share your views in the comment box and subscribe to stay informed and prepared for the changing times.